welcome back. I hope you're having a good day. So I was outside and I was cleaning up some of the area around my pre-bonsai trees and just moving some of the pots and cleaning up some of the weeds. I noticed how many aerial roots this guy was sprouting, and it's been in here for I think a couple years now. I'm not really even all that sure. I've decided I'd go ahead and repot it today, mainly because the rain chased me inside. I had a lot more work to do out there, but it started pouring all of a sudden. So I figured I'd go ahead and repot this while I wait the rain out. I'd like to get back out there and do some stuff, but it's still raining, so I'm going to go ahead and do this while I'm thinking about it. I got 3 of these at the same time, or I say 3. I bought it was in a little pot, and it was just 3 cuttings that were grown together, and I separated them. This one's always been the runt. I actually thought this one wasn't going to make it for a little while. I repotted the other one a couple months, but so I'm going to repot this one today, and then the third one I'll probably wait till spring to do. It's the one, it's awkward, but it's the one I think that has the most potential, if you will. But anyway, I've had this long-held belief that if you keep any of these tropicals pot bound enough, that they'll start sprouting some aerial roots, and this one's been in the smallest pot, and it's definitely got some good hairy roots going on there. You can see the ones down in the pot there. But before I repot it, I'm gonna prune it just a bit. I'm going to go pretty conservative with it because I definitely want to save these. You can actually, I don't know if you can see, I pruned that not too long ago, and I actually pruned this not too long ago. You can see the scar there. I think I pruned this probably quite some time ago, the last time I pruned it or whatever, but you can see the prune mark in there. When I water my trees, I go out there, you know, I have my pruners with me and I just get the super long ones coming out. But I don't want to be super aggressive with it because I want to account for any dieback, especially out here where I want to save the aerial roots. So right here, just going to take the crown off. Generally speaking, dieback just means that, you know, it might die back and then that'll become the new leader, but it also could die back and that'll become the new leader. And that's why I left it up so tall. If I lose this bit, you know, it can go that low. It could even go lower than that. That'd be fine. And then out here, I'm going to leave this where I pruned it before alone. And I'm just going to cut this part off, and again leaving plenty of those leaves along the way where generally it'll sprout right out of there or it'll decide to die back further. I just don't want to dying back into those aerial roots because I do want to try to save those. When I repot it, my idea here is that I'm going to pot it to the side of this pot and try to give some substrate for the roots to catch there, give it a little more of a banyan look. It's a bigger pot, still just a training pot, but it's bigger, so it should help it even grow a little bit thicker. And I don't think, these are some of the easiest plants to grow. I don't think they make very good traditional looking bonsai just simply because of the way the aerial root, the way they kind of clump up, the dieback, big leaves, etc. But I think they can still look pretty interesting, and if you prune them like aggressively enough at the right times of the year, when they come out with the smaller looking leaves and everything, they really do look awesome for a little bit, but eventually the leaves just wind up getting kind of big. But still, they're interesting little plants. And actually I'd like to keep this foliage here, but these 2 branches are coming right up straight off of the other branch, just straight up. If there was any hope I could wire them to the side, I would have saved them. But alright, so I got the new pot all ready to go with a little substrate already in it. And time to get out of this old one, get some of this dirt out of there, out of this potting soil, and pull that weed out first. But I did kind of test it and pull it out. It's not really even anywhere near as pot bound as I thought it might be. But there's a nice little web of roots in there. So I'll try to get most of this potting soil off of here. Trim a couple of these long circling roots. You see some of the aerial roots were starting to grow on in there. Try to save as many of them as I can. And as I'm kind of working this guy a little bit here, I'm only doing this because I live in Florida. and keep these outside year round. It's not going to get below 60 at night for probably at least another month. It's still getting up to about 88 every day. We had one little tiny cold front come through, but then it got hot and muggy again. Actually, that's why it's kind of raining right now, keeping me from taking care of some long neglected stuff out there. And once I took those two circling roots off there, really isn't all that much to it. If it wasn't pouring down rain outside, I might consider going and hitting this with the garden hose, but kind of unnecessary. It'll be fine. I actually think sometimes when I do that, that's what causes a little more stress, because you do take away some of the real smaller fibrous roots that are in there, that are in that like real dense peat right in the ball there. I think that if the plant survives, that it's better long term, because it can regrow all those little fibrous roots into the better substrate and not have all that peat in there. But I might try to straighten that one out just a little bit. That one root there. But I think that's good enough. And get it in the training pot here. Had it ready to go. A little bit of substrate already in the bottom of it. That may be just about the level I wanted at. I don't want to make a raft kind of banyan out of it. I still do want that branch somewhat still coming up. Maybe a little more like that. I think that'll be a better term angle for it. I could kind of almost lay it in, give it a little bit of a swampy look, and just let those aerial roots actually be in the substrate now, but I think I do want it to have the appearance a little more of being a branch there instead of just, in other words, I could have it like that. Just let those go in the substrate now. It'd probably get just as thick over here, in the trunk as it does here. But I would rather keep it as a little bit of a branch type appearance where it's going up there a little bit, somewhat of that angle. Sometimes it just kind of depends once I kind of backfill this thing in there what it's going to look like. And so let's see. And of course, looks like it's kind of coming out about halfway between those two angles I showed you. Of course, Everybody always says the Florida thing to do is just put a rock on there to hold it steady till it takes root. I may wedge a little rock under there just to kind of hold it up just a little bit more. I did want to have it a little more like that, but somehow once I got that backside backfilled, it kept wanting to come down. Of course, that even looks a little bit better right there.